Greetings out there in CHATTV land. This is Betty Law's host for today show, and I have a beautiful guest on with me today that I'm sure you're going to sit back, relax, and listen to some of the advice that Fatima has to offer us from the caring nurse. With so much that we have going on today with COVID and other things going on and death all over the country and the world, Fatima has some advice that she can offer us. And I, for one, need to connect with her so that I can learn some things today too. So let me get right to it. Fatima, welcome to the show and tell us some things about you and how you got started with the caring nurse.
Okay, well, first, I'd like to thank you, the host, Mrs. Laws, and I'd like to thank your producer for having me on today. I am so privileged to be able to spend this time with you. So, I've been a nurse for about 25 years now. I've worked from long term care to assisted living to in home care. Right now, and I'm doing some COVID clinics, and I have some clients that I'm doing some concierge work with. I got started last year. Um, and the model for my company is to be able to be an advocate and an educator and an encourager for families as they venture through the senior medical journey. I want to say just because it's so many different journeys. Someone may be on assisted living journey or a long-term care journey or a rehab journey or a hospice journey, and I am available to provide services for all those different levels of care, depending on where the person is. And so, what I really want to do is be able to be the educated medical person that is side by side with the families, the person that can give them an inside look into things. Because I work from being a caregiver all the way up to being a director. So I can see things that are happening in a home or in a facility from different aspects. And so the families would know what to expect, what to ask for, and really get the most out of um, the medical professional or the medical area they're in, so that the family member can get the most out of their life and have a quality experience.
Oh, great. So I like what you're saying. You're an advocator, you're an encourager, and you're an educator for the patients. What great tools you use to help caregivers and patients know more about the health arena and how these three things can benefit them. When they know more, they can do more and they can help themselves. So, tell me a little bit about your journey in becoming a director of resident care on to the caring nurse. How did your past experience help you decide that you needed to start your own company to help patients and caregivers?
Okay. As a director, and most people will call it a director of nursing or a director of resident care. So, in that position, you are charged with deciding and mapping out the plan for the patient's care and how that care is going to be done by the care staff, what kind of meals they're going to have through dietary, what kind of psych therapies and things they would have, what kind of physical therapy. So you're like the overhead of all these different areas, and you're the person to make sure all these different things underneath that umbrella are being done, right? Being able to see that what a patient really needs, being able to see what a company wants to give a patient. A person might say, "Oh, I need somebody to come in and be with my mom." I would go in and I would assess and I would, kind of help them decide what their mother needs. A lot of companies will go in and sell you every single thing. You may not need every single thing. And the family members or the caregivers not understanding the language or things may sign up for unnecessary things. And then again, they may get service, may not get enough services that they can apply for and that they really, really do need. Um, and so, with that being said, being as though I have that knowledge from a family's perspective and from the medical side of it, I can be the honest, non-partial person to give you all the advice that is needed. So I could say, they're saying that you need one, two, three, four, five. You really just need one, two, and three. And if one, two, and three are done correctly, then you don't need four and five. Or they may say you just need one. And I'm like, man, I think you're going to need a little bit more services to help get this to a certain level, and then maybe you can drop back.
Amen.
And see, the family
Amen.
sometimes, medical facilities, nursing homes, assisted livings, they are medical providers, but they're also salespeople. Salespeople like numbers.
Yes.
I'm not about numbers. I'm about
Yes.
people. There's a
Amen.
statement that I say that may be offensive to some places. I say, I'm not corporate's girl. I'm the family's girl. And so
Amen.
I'm that second family member, right? That's going to say, nah, mom really needs this, or mom doesn't really need this. I had an experience this week. I was doing a COVID clinic, so I was giving COVID vaccinations. I had a woman come in. She was definitely afraid of the vaccine. And so she was there. I encouraged her, of course. I do believe in the science behind the vaccine. And so I did encourage her. She was already there for her appointment. She did receive her vaccine, but she also had a story. And everybody has a story. And I take the time to listen to the story to be able to be a support wherever I am in whatever capacity I am in. And so there's always an opportunity to love on someone, to give good, thoughtful advice and care to someone. And
Yes.
that woman has a handicapped sister in the facility, and she said she made a call. She thinks her sister needs hospice. She showed me a picture of her sister, and from that visual that I seen, I was able to see that hospice is probably a good way to go in that situation. And so I encouraged her, and I did give her a list. These are the things you ask hospice for. These are the things you should expect. You should expect a social worker. You should expect a chaplain. You should expect oxygen, portable, and concentrator. You should expect
Wow.
when you a specialty mattress to help with bed wounds or bed sores. You should
Yes.
you should expect certain things, and sometimes people don't have that information. But when they come with their tool in their hand or in their mind, they can say,
Yes.
"Oh, I would like to have this, 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 and this." Well, the medical people are like, "Oh, someone's been educating you."
Absolutely. And the understanding and the knowledge that they have, they can apply it to their needs. But at the same time, when you come in, the caring nurse, you're a good listener. At the same time, you're assessing. And then at the same time, when you're helping them to understand the medical language, you're earning their trust. And there fits the word compassion, because this is what we all need in this world is compassion. And one of the key tools is a good listener. Am I right? So,
You are
do you
correct.
find yourself having to minimize the stress that many of the patients and the caregivers face when they don't understand how to maneuver for their needs?
Yeah. So at times, people are calling me a lot of times after the fact, after they've had a bad experience with a nursing home, after they've had some difficulty with in-house caregiver, someone that's coming into their home when they're dissatisfied. Um, I recently, well, currently I'm doing some work with a stroke patient, and I think I started working with her in December. And I come into the home. I'm going to give you a small short story. I come into the home, and the husband is explaining to me some things that need to be done and whatnot. And I asked, she's in the bed. I said, I see the wheelchair. Can she get out of bed? And he says, "Oh, would you get her out?" And of course, I would get her out the bed. If she's able to, she can get out the bed. So we got out the bed. We go outside for walks. We start, I talk to her every morning. Good morning, Mrs. Such and Such. How was your day? Today's weather is this and this and this. Well, she hasn't really spoken in 18 months, and now she's speaking. She'll say good morning back. She'll say
Wow.
hi. She'll kiss her husband. And her husband decided he would call the company and ask if he could have me more often And what I found out was the other nurse that was coming, because the woman had a stroke and she wasn't very verbal. The other nurse took that opportunity to do her studying and versus taking care of the client. And so with me, he said he never knew he can get all this, and I'm the first person she has been
Wow.
engaged with. And so she's
Yes.
living a different level of quality life. She's living the best life she can live possible, but she is still part of the family. She is still part of the household. She says thank you when she goes out for walks, and she sung happy birthday to me,
Wow.
which was fun, which is funny because she hasn't spoken in about 18 months. But because of the care and the interaction and the engagement, the intentional engagement, because I say to people, she's not a chair, she's a person. She should be spoken to.
Absolutely.
I should explain what I'm doing to her when I'm touching her body. I shouldn't be just tasking doing things to her body. My hand should be a caring touch, a gentle touch.
Yes.
And so it made all of a difference. And it's funny because the other nurse came in to do some assessment. She says, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. It's been 18 months and I've never seen her do any of these things." So now she's on the phone. "Hello? Yes, it's me." She's so
Wow.
alive, and it's so beautiful to see her blossom.
Wow. So you've touched on so many things when you've mentioned how we can influence patients to engage, and it's by how we treat them, is what you're saying. And I love what you're saying. We don't treat them like they're a chair. We treat them, in other words, like how we want to be treated if we were in the same position and condition. So I love what you're saying. Your name is apropos for your business, the caring nurse, because that's one thing that if we don't care and we're just there for the dollar, um, we won't get those outcomes from our patients. And one of the most important thing is when we get our patients to cooperate with us. When they
Yeah.
cooperate with us, it's a win-win game here. So with that, we're going to come back after the commercial because we have so much to say. And I do want to know about your faith-based foundation and how you keep going with your patients and winning them over. Fatima, I'm so glad that you're on the show. I hope that our TV audience will go and get something to drink or do what they need to do and come back and join us for more of the caring nurse called Fatima. And
Thank
we're going to start with a verse, a chapter, John 5, verses 8 through 16, but we're going to compress it there. And I want to talk about just what you said, how you got her to talk when you come back with that. So if we can think a moment on that, please, audience, join us back here, Chat TV. We want to see you in the place.
Please join us on Chat TV, WMCN TV for Thursdays every month. If you want to brand or be a guest, please contact Betty at 302-565-9942 or 23psbj@gmail.com. See disclaimer at end of program.
Hello, welcome back to Chat TV. There in TV land, I'm glad that you came back. We have more to share with you with Fatima, the caring nurse who just started her business not too long ago, but she sounds like a pro. She's been in the arena for 25 years or more. She has a lot to share with us. So Fatima, talking about where we left off, your influence for your patients as well as your caregiver comes from you winning their trust by listening to their needs and their wants, and then putting that together with how you should steer them and help them navigate through the health arena for their needs. So we left off talking about John 5, 8 through 16, and we're going to condense it. And I'm going to read it to you. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed and walk. And immediately the man was made whole and took up the bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Two things, two questions that leads to your influence, your compassion for a woman that you spoke of for 18 months who didn't speak to anyone. You come along, the caring nurse, Miss Fatima. You get the lady to start talking to her husband, start talking to the nurses, and start telling you goodbye when you were leaving. Let me just talk about that for a second. Ask you about your company. Is it faith based? And what did you think of when they told you she didn't talk for 18 months? How were you convinced that there was something you could do for her to get her to do just what she did?
Well, first of all, let me just say that scripture so blessed me. It so blessed me because one of the things that I believe in, people talk about falling in love, I always say rise in love. Love should be lifting things, it should be opening things, it should be bringing joy and happiness. So I never say fall in love, I always say rise in love because we all should be able to
Yeah.
rise in love. When you spend time with people, when you connect with people, one of the things I do very well with the families is I connect with their fears. Their fears are real. Their concerns are real. This is their loved one. They want the best for them, right? And everybody, regardless of income, race, or creed, should be able to get the best quality care as possible through the nursing and medical arena, right? That should be a given. That shouldn't be something we have to fight for. It should be something that is openly offered. Another thing that you said was you talked about how I connect. And so, I connect with their fears and their concerns. And I really listen to what it is that they need. Because when I come into a home or interact with a family member, I'm interacting with a patient and I'm interacting with another person, a family member. So
Yes.
it is a overall goal of having wholeness. And that was another thing you mentioned, wholeness. This is a big picture. This is not just a patient encapsulated. This is a whole family. These are siblings. These are spouses. And I've had the opportunity to help encourage them so that they can, participate and feel good about their participation on whatever level. In home is not for everyone. In a facility is not for everyone. Everyone's
Yeah.
situation is completely different, and there is no shame and no guilt associated with someone's decision, either way it goes. And I like to put that out. I really
Mhm.
like to say that there is no shame and no guilt, because that's not what the caring nurse is about. We're about getting people to a level that they are enjoying their life. That lady, now that
Yeah.
she speaks, she is enjoying her life. She's on a peg tube, but guess what she do now? We've introduced foods. And guess what? People have no idea how enjoyable eating is, how psychological eating is. So now she's able to do those things more often because we work with her. I didn't just come in. Okay, so I did some work through an agency. I didn't just come in to change her diaper. That's not what I'm there for,
Amen.
right? I monitor her medications. I monitor her vital signs. I'm monitoring things through her peg tube. And I'm also monitoring her psychological and her emotional condition, hers and her families that are in the home. And now, from the interaction, we were able. Let me tell you one thing we did is that I started working with her. Because when I come into a home, I'm not just coming in here to do this little list of things. I'm coming to do as much as I can do, as much as I
Amen.
can give. I always call myself. I don't know how to give an analogy of this. If you ever see a baby bottle, the little babies have these little bottles, the toy bottles, and they go like this, and they empty it out. When they go like this, it fills back up. I'm kind of like that. So it's all this love, and that is the hands and feet of God. It's all this love, right? Then I gotta pour it out of myself, and while I'm pouring it out of myself, God is pushing it back up in me, and it never goes away. It just never goes away. It just replenishes and replenishes
Awesome.
and replenishes. So the more work I
Awesome.
do, I think that in the nursing realm, I am purposed. So I'm very glad to be in this position. I'm very excited about it. I feel very purpose, and so it doesn't go away. Now I get tired, like most people. I get tired, but then God reminds me, like being here. speaking with you, speaking with the viewers, God reminds me of their purpose and fills me right back up again.
Amen. So let me ask you this question. As I said, that scripture is twofold. He influenced him by speaking directly to him, giving him basically tough love, but speaking to his mind. And you explain that. But then the other thing I need to ask is, what is your normal window of time for client services? Your normal window of time for client services. Um, and then after that, when do you recognize that you need to refer them off to another service?
So my normal client time for services is always dependent on the client getting information back to me, because it's a thorough assessment. I'm doing, the home assessment, I'm doing the trauma assessment, the medication assessment, the abilities assessments, the vital signs and physical assessment of the patient, of their home, and what it is that the family or person in charge wants to get to. What is your ultimate goal? If they can get me that information quickly, then we can move quickly. I have so many connections and resources. I'm connected with the Alzheimer's
Great.
Association. I'm connected
Good.
with the Department of Health. I am able to work remotely with people. It was a man who, one of my episodes with the caring nurse through blackusanews.com, was a man whose brother had a stroke and who was about to enter into hospice services. So I was able to work with his brother remotely to give him and his
Amen.
sister-in-law education and information that was going to equip them so they knew what they should be getting and what to
Right.
look for and things like that. And it worked well, because he said, had he not known, he wouldn't have known what to ask for, what to expect, and some information wasn't given, but he was able to say to them, well, what about this? And then they gave the information, because you got to really advocate for your family members and for yourself. um
Absolutely. So you
and so
so you are able to outreach to your patients and their families through many avenues, which I'm glad you mentioned, remotely, face to face with COVID. Of course, nurses still have to do their job, but I'm sure you're COVID protected with your PPEs and all of that that's necessary. When you do go into the homes, the other thing is you. How about your stress level? When do you decide I need to take a break? Because nurses oftentimes will do for others and unselfishly, unapologetically, will not take the time to uh, de stress, or should I say, use stress reduction tools. So, when do you, or have you ever come to an experience that you needed to just say, time out for me, I need to refuel?
yeah. And so there have been those times, and I've learned through the process of my career how to do self-care. Self-care is a very important thing. Self-care is not selfish. And as in society, and as for a female, we do definitely have to be very intentional about that. We have to intentionally set safeguards for ourselves, intentionally
Yes.
set some guardrails. I don't know if you ever watched, but there's a beautiful sermon series called Guardrails, and I think it might be Andy Stanley. But that's a beautiful sermon series called Guardrails. If you ever had a chance, take a look at that. But yeah, you have to set these things aside. And so I do. I make it my business to have yoga class once a week. I make it my business to
Good.
read my Bible. I make it my business to sit with my thoughts and my emotions. And because I am connected to my family members and connected to my patients, I do receive some of those emotions. I do cry when there is a transition. I mean, but as a follower of Christ, I understand transition is a necessary part of life, right? And so
Mhm.
we rejoice in our pain. And I know it's probably difficult for some people to understand, but
Amen.
we rejoice in our pain. Um,
Yes.
so I have that balance, and
Hmm.
so with that balance, it allows me to reach more people and to be more open. Because when you don't have balance, what happened is you'll meet somebody who is needy or they need you, but you're not able to give to them because you haven't taken care of yourself. So you
Absolutely.
have to have that balance, or you won't be good for them, and you want to be
That's
good for
right.
them. Every time I meet somebody or I get come into somebody's presence, I think to myself, which I think every morning before I even enter into the process of work mode, is what can I give? My presence should make a
Mhm.
difference. It's one thing I always say to people: if your
Absolutely.
presence doesn't make a difference, neither will your absence. So it's important that
Yes.
my presence makes a difference.
Yes. So I'd like to ask you and give the television audience your contact information because we need more of you. We need more of the caring nurses. We need more of uh, Fatima, people like you with compassion, love, wanting to advocate, educate, and encourage your patients. Please tell us how to get in contact with you.
Okay. You can reach me by phone at 443-698-8140, or you can reach me at thecaringnurse.alm@gmail.com. The website will be coming soon, and that will be thecaringnurse.net.
Amen. So at this time, what would you advise? Three things that you would advise quickly. Three things that you would advise the caregiver, and three things that you would advise the patient. Real quick.
All right. Three things I would advise the caregiver. I would advise the caregiver to find advocacy, find the ombudsman's office, find the Department of Health, gather information. The second one is to be involved. Be involved and be aware. The third thing is develop a relationship with the care staff caring for your family member. The
Mhm.
for the patient, be patient. Say what's on your mind. Ask questions, write things down, right? Don't hesitate. Do not hesitate. If there's a concern, there's a concern. If someone makes you uncomfortable and you feel uncared for, speak out. So they're my things.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Fatima. We want to have you back here again for our TV audience at another time. Thank you, TV audience, for joining us here at Chat TV.
Please join us on CHATTV, WMCN TV for Thursdays every month. If you want to brand or be a guest, please contact Betty at 302-565-9942 or 23psbj@gmail.com. See disclaimer at end of program.